We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route and how fast. Almost all the world's constitutions are documents in which governments tell the people what their privileges are. Our Constitution is a document in which we the people tell the government what it is allowed to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited. There's a clear cause and effect here that is as neat and predictable as a law of physics. As government expands, liberty contracts.
Okay. Welcome to Candid Conversation this evening. It's a Friday. It's been beautiful. It's been hot, and we're waiting on Robert to get his internet to work with him so he can pop in on the show. But tonight we have Anna Gibson out of Louisville. I don't know what to she's not like a politician. She's just I don't know. She's a citizen that fights the local government. Maybe that's the right way to say it. And then we're going to welcome Catherine back. Catherine, how are you?
Good, thank you.
How are you, Anna?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I guess I describe myself as a advocate citizen who stands up to our government when they get out of control. So try to keep them in check as much as possible.
It sounds good to us.
She's a warrior.
I was going to say, you got something you might want to add to it, Catherine?
She's definitely a warrior. I'm sorry, I've got the sun coming in the back of my head. It is hot down. You talk about being hot. It's hot down here in Georgia. So, yeah, the sun's coming right in my back.
Yeah, I've probably done everything that you could imagine to try to keep our government and especially our mayor and former building official in check. And I would say I have done everything from knocking on doors to passing out flyers to filing ethical complaints to putting chalkboards in my yard saying there's corruption in Louisville. We need to fight it. Support us who are rallying against it. So, not a lot of people pay attention to local politics. So I'll tell you, I work up our city, our little town government more than anyone else. I'm probably public enemy number one to our town government, I'd say.
Not a bad thing. Exposing the things that you don't think is legitimate to the people in the public is supposed to what we're supposed to do. So, hey, let's get Robert in here. Hey, Robert.
What's up? I think I got it sorted out.
That's fine. So we'll just do that. How about that? We'll do sign language. You know what I mean? I tell you what else we can do. We can wait, like, you can ask a question and then we'll wait 15 seconds to answer it.
Just to mess with you.
Yeah.
Just to mess with you. So anyway, go on with look, see. There's a lag.
It's a delay.
There's a delay. So all right. Going we were talking about Anna being a citizen against the government, which is exactly what we're supposed to be. And when they don't listen and when the irregularities don't add up, then that's exactly what we're supposed to do is let the local community know what's going on. So, Anna, you got it. You can tell us what you think is going on in Louisville. I think it's a good idea to have somebody on here that's in that area of the community that can come on here and be our local resident about what's going on in local politics in Louisville.
Yeah, sure. Maybe I should give you a background in how I got started. So I've been attending our local town meetings in Louisville really since May of last year. When I first started attending, a whole of 3 people showed up. So that's as much people care about the Louisville politics. But shortly after I got involved, this really large scale development issue came up and about 30 citizens showed up multiple meetings to basically say, hey, we don't want development. We don't want this in our town. And, I could just tell that they weren't going to let it go. And when I say they, it was our planning. It wasn't necessarily our planning commission, but our mayor. She was advocating for this development nonstop. And then I saw our building official kind of manipulating our planning commission, and I became concerned. And I became so concerned that I started really heavily watching them. And then in September of last year, after this large scale development was denied twice, they said, oh, the guy made minor changes and we're going to let him come back. And I think I just dug my feet in that day and I said, I'm going to fight this, because you're not going to ignore 30 citizens who came down here when normally it's 3 citizens who told you they don't want this development. And I just dug in, and I've been trying to fight them really ever since, and trying to stay ahead of, the corruption. And there is quite a bit of corruption that I've seen at this point.
I understand that. So when you say the corruption, just exactly, do you have something like outline that you could show or speak about specifically?
Yeah, I think that's a really good thing. I'm actually getting my doctorate degree in leadership and ethics. So I actually switched my dissertation to be about government abuse and ethics. So from my standpoint, a lot of people view corruption really as there's a bribe, there's fraud, there's embezzlement. But really, corruption's much broader than that. It's also, a lack of integrity, deceptive practices. But some of the corruption that I've seen has been illegal permits have been signed. I've seen them advertising their friends' businesses and government employees' businesses. Really, this whole development that they approved was a massive plot to give a government official $600,000 so he could bolster his private sewer line, and then tap in more commercial development. I mean, it's been out of control. They've claimed to be deleting all the audio files in their town of public meetings, which are public records. It's a felony offense to delete those audio files, and they will not turn them over to me. So all these little things add up to, it's out of control. I mean,
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. It's my dog.
It's your dog.
Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
So he agrees with you, Anna.
Yeah, I got one person on my team. On my side.
There you go.
I mean, even just looking at this Tuesday, so I just went on before I joined this call, and we have a planning commission meeting coming up this Tuesday. And I looked on the planning commission agenda, and they're trying to vote for a new planning commission chairman. So I looked up the code, because you have to fact check our government employees and officials. I looked up the code. It's a non-existent code that they're pointing to. They're pointing to a light manufacturing code. There is no code that says they need to elect a new chairman every year like they're claiming. And if you go to their Facebook post, right, they're supposed to post about their agenda item. Conveniently, they posted the May date. So 4 hours ago, they posted a May date and pointed to the May agenda items and the documents. They're not posting the meeting that's coming up this Tuesday. Uh-huh. And if you look at the details, they're talking about a code that's a non-existent code, and the real code's talking about light manufacturing. So this is the type of games that the Pew administration really plays. And it's just so disheartening that they just keep trying to push their agenda. And so many people have said, we don't want this development, over and over again.
So you're going to the meetings, right?
Yes, I go to every meeting. I am now a staple in these town meetings. Often I'm the only one who speaks to it, but I really try to do my research ahead of time to be able to see, like, when they're lying, when they might be manipulating things. Have they even reviewed it? I mean, the reality is these board members are volunteers, right? So they're not paid. So oftentimes they just really show up and they haven't reviewed any of the content and they just vote yes because the mayor wants it. And they're not really, this legislative body that we have is supposed to double check our mayor, and they really don't. And they don't really, they're too polite to say, hey, you need to stop. You're doing corrupt things. So
Yeah. So how well are they taking you when you show up?
oh my God. They have retaliated against me in every way possible. They've called me a liar. Two of them, board members, aldermen, have called me a liar in public meetings. The building official has tried to say I was in cahoots and has staged my public comments with John Loop, who I've never met with before personally in my life, other than seeing him in these public meetings. They have harshly stopped my public comments. They forced a board to vote to extend my public comments one time, and I'm the only person that they ever did that. I'm the only person they forced to pay for public records. So I put in public records and they made me and my lawyer pay for them. Whereas when there was a developer's lawyer who requested 30 years of site plans, they didn't pay anything. They only made me pay for my public records. They just do these things. They don't even want to fill half of my public records for the record. I mean, every single way they will try to deter me. This past week, they passed out this flyer that basically said, how is she a Tennessee resident when she's public speaking in Florida? And the funny part is those individuals that passed that out had my Tennessee driver's license because they forced me to walk my Tennessee driver's license down there to fill my public records in January. So, it's just, they want to retaliate against me. They want me. Oh, I've also been threatened for a defamation lawsuit. And I told that to a lawyer once, and they're like, well, they can only threaten you with a defamation lawsuit if you're telling lies. They don't have a case if you're telling the truth. So, I keep posting everything to prove that I'm not lying. That's why I post screenshots with it. And I just won't be intimidated. I won't be deterred. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there next year. And that is a warning for anyone who wants to run for mayor. You're going to have to deal with me. So if you're going to walk in there and you're going to lie and you're going to try to manipulate, I'm going to fact check you. And I will be there every public comment to keep you in check. So anyone who wants to run for mayor or alderman,
just know
the fate of heart. I will be there. I will make sure you're doing the right thing by our community.
So that was another thing I was going to ask you, because they did come after you about your residence in Florida, right?
Yeah. Yes, they did. They did.
So I thought that I heard or read something about you saw some things that went on down there that you think are happening here, and you're just trying to prevent it. Is that?
Yeah, well, yes. Well, I got involved in local politics. Actually, my mom was going to city council meetings, and then she basically said to me, well, you're the property owner. I don't know why I'm going to these meetings. So she started getting me to go to local meetings in Florida. And then I just got so, I don't know, so engaged with it. I was a weird person who just loved going to these local town meetings and seeing how much they were spending on things. I mean, they spent $5 million just to design a road in Florida. And then I came across all these building issues where, I mean, they're all flat lots. These builders started building up the lots because their empty lot had flooding issues. So they built up the lot. Well, then they were flooding people's houses next to them. And the town just blank past them because you're supposed to have a building official come in and review to make sure that house was put in right. They just signed them in Florida because they're probably paid off by the builders. Right. So then it floods someone's house. and then the town doesn't want to take any responsibility for it. It's basically like the illegal PUD that we have in Louisville. They don't want to take any responsibility for that PUD. And would you want to be someone who walks outside your front door and sees 3 apartment buildings in your front yard that shouldn't even be there? I wouldn't. They don't care about who they hurt, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
So let me see. Then you move to Tennessee and you see some of the same things. So you're just politically strong on local government anyway. And so what was the first thing that caught their attention by you bringing it to their attention? Do you remember that instance?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I don't know if I necessarily caught their attention any more than anyone else. I mean, I just think that they thought I was unusual for how outspoken I was. So I think that they dealt with a lot of people who they could bully, who they can tell lies to, and they wouldn't fact check them. A lot of people just give up. A lot of just people say, well, what can we do about it? That's our government. And kind of like your intro,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you're my government.
Right.
Like, I'm the customer. You report to me. So
We elect them. Yes.
yes, you're our representative. Like, I'm sorry that I come down here and I complain to you, but you're my representative. How are you going to know? You're not answering my emails. So, yeah, so I don't know if it's any one thing I said. It's just probably the way I said it.
Right.
And then I kept coming back. So,
You approached him. Yeah.
yeah.
What does it say? Robert said his internet has decided not to play nice and he apologizes.
Oh, too bad.
Scrappy Dog in here says, since they can't afford their own police enforcement officers, then they should be unincorporated. Is that true?
Well, so they pay for, there's a interesting take on why they're incorporated. So the town of Louisville actually incorporated, I believe it was like 30 some years ago, because they were worried about what Alcoa and, I'm going to say it wrong, Maryville were doing. And so they didn't want to be annexed, because if they were annexed to Alcoa, they would have to pay city taxes and they would have to go to Alcoa to get building rules. Right. So basically, Louisville's like, well, we want to protect our peace and quiet. And interestingly, if you look up their original charter, it says that their powers are limited to protect the peace, the quiet, and the good order of the town. And let me tell you, they are not following those rules at all. And it's frustrating to see that. So that's why they really originally incorporated, and then they have reciprocal agreements with Blount County Sheriff's Office and a reciprocal agreement with the Blount Fire Department to give those services to them.
Right. They just passed that, was a month or so back, with the commission in Blount County.
Yeah, but I think they've had those for a while. So my guess is that's a reoccurring fee that they pay every year.
Right. Yeah.
That's my guess.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Catherine, you got anything?
Well, so my grandfather was one of the first aldermen. So they set those charters down in the 90s, early 90s, because that was happening and there was some big issues going on. There was a fear that Alcoa was going to come in and annex a lot of Louisville. So it all started with preservation. So they want preservation. And when I was running for a county commission, I talked to so many people. All of them said the same thing. We live here because we don't want growth. We've moved here because we didn't like where it was outgrowing, especially from West Knoxville. They don't want it to look like West Knoxville now, so the fear wouldn't be as much. Alcoa is going to take us as West Knoxville. So all of them have said, we want this peaceful area down here to be preserved. And so Alcoa has grown up quite a bit at the line up there on top side road. They're putting in a strip mall up there as we speak. I passed by the other day and it was It's, going to get under roof pretty soon. So nobody wants that. So my family was originally the George family, and that Georges Creek, that whole area right in there belonged to them. So they, of course, divided up the farm, and as years gone by, it has just, Alcoa has just encroached a little bit more. So they've incorporated all the way down almost to the line at Georges Creek.
Huh.
So the whole town started, and the whole history of Louisville goes. It dates back to the 1700s, 1780s. I believe I have a history book. I have an original history book of Louisville, but it was all about preserving this part of land. The lake didn't come in until the 30s, whenever TVA backed everything in.
Right.
It might have been even after that they made Louisville Point Park, but they backed that in. That become a lake part of Louisville, and everybody loves that life. So we have a different lifestyle down here. I think it's more laid back. And what bothers me is, well, let me back up. So, how I met Anna. So, I was campaigning and I saw her sign out. And I said, I told my husband, I said, stop, I want to go in there. And he's like, you can't just pull in somebody's driveway. And I said, I'm campaigning. Of course I can. So he said, well,
It's Louisville, so you can
I
stop anytime and say hi.
stop and say hi. So, so the next time I said, okay, I'm going to remember what house that was. So I counted. Then I couldn't remember. And then she didn't have her sign out for a while. And I thought, oh no, where is that? Where is that house? One day her garage door was up and her husband was out washing the car. I saw the sign inside the garage and I thought they're going to think I'm crazy, but I'm going in. So that's how I met her. And we sat on her back deck and we talked. And it took me, when she started telling me what was going on in Louisville, it honestly took me an entire day, maybe longer, to figure out a process, what was happening here. I mean, this is happening under the noses of people, and the problem is with the Pew administration, I'm sorry, is, I'm sorry, I say her name wrong. I do apologize because I said that wrong. But the problem with that is we trusted her. So I don't live in the town limits. So I'm outside. I'm on Robert's end of town up there. So I wouldn't be part of or can't vote or anything in the town of Louisville or in the town hall or administration.
Right.
But everybody trusted her. And that is something that several people have said to me is we regret putting her in there or voting for her. And that speaks volumes. Like when you are supposed to be in a position of trust, you're supposed to take the temperature of everybody, not just a few with a couple $1,000,000. And there's a lot of people in Louisville that have quite a bit of money. You have to hear everybody's side of it. You want to hear everybody, no matter what their socioeconomic status is. Everybody should have a voice. So that's a problem. And it's a problem when they are upset at Anna for fact checking them. We should be watchdogs. We
Yeah.
are government watchdogs, all of us.
Yes.
So that's kind of how I got to know Anna, and that's my take on it. I'm really frustrated when I go through Louisville because I know in my heart the temperature of the entire town, the temperature of the whole district, which is District 10, and the way it was supposed to be, the way it was set up. It was all family farms. There was so many farms down there. The farm that is on the corner now that's in that area that is going to be developed was originally my great grandfather's also. So that was the Raper farm down there. And he donated even the cemetery up there. He donated the land for the cemetery that's on the hill. All of that belonged to them. So Louisville wouldn't even be Louisville if it wasn't for that. So I feel this very deep connection down there. And I love it that Anna is giving us not only her point of view from what happened in Florida. We don't want to wind up like that.
Yeah, and I just think the reality is there is no government accountability, and
Right.
government officials and employees don't want to follow the rules. And my opinion is if you don't want to follow the rules, we shouldn't have to. You
Right.
should be the pristine example of every single rule in the state of Tennessee and your building codes. But that's what is happening. What's happening is government officials and employees are using their position to their own advantage, and that goes against every ethical paper you could read about being in local government. The number one ethical thing, they are not supposed to use their position in the town for private gain, and they do. And the sad part is, then you walk in and they treat you like crap if you give like a public comment, right? And they don't want to listen to you. And the reality is they're listening to their one buddy that is down the road who they promise could get, multi-million dollar development, and they don't care that it doesn't meet building rules. And we've shown them the power of the people. You don't get to choose who you bend the rules for, little local government. You follow the rules. And so that's basically what our lawsuit is about. Our lawsuit is about taking them to court so a judge can decipher the building codes, because the planning commission just wants to change them or dismiss them when their friend walks in. And you can't do that. That's just not the law. And they've already gotten in trouble once for that. They've already lost a lawsuit in the town of Louisville for not following building codes. So this is number 2. And you know what I say to future developers? Beware, because if you think you got a buddy in our government, guess what? The people will uphold the building codes and our rules. So watch out for people.
let's go back to the accountability you were talking about. We ask them to be accountable, and then we're asking the exact same people who weren't accountable to investigate where they weren't accountable at, and then try to fix that problem.
Yes,
and then you can go one step further to say that they're hoping that enough people don't show up at these meetings so that they can pass their agendas the way that they want to, and no one was there to counteract whatever it was, like you, for example. So they welcome that they can hold these positions of elected office and then do these things based on the fact that they know no one's going to show up and say anything until these things start to show up. They start to pop up, and everybody starts going, well, where did this come from?
Yeah.
Well, why was that allowed to happen? And then they get involved in the commission a little bit more, and then they see, and then so now, which is what you've done, based on the fact that you had experience dealing with this in another place, you could almost see it happening, or it is happening, and in a way that some of the people that have lived around here just don't see it the same way.
Yeah, I think my initial fear with having experience in another place, right? I lived in a quiet town in Florida that didn't really have a lot of building, and I enjoyed that kind of peace and quiet for a long period of time. And then slowly but surely, I saw the traffic issues come up, right? And then my first city council meeting, they started talking about all these utility issues that they have and how they feel the only way to handle it is to increase utility rates. And quite frankly, I should have been paying attention a lot sooner, because all these little decisions add up. I wasn't there whenever they approved 600 homes to go in, fighting for that. I wasn't there when they approved 800 homes. I wasn't there when they made their density rules smaller so they could fit more homes on lots. And so it happens like that. And all of a sudden you start asking yourself, man, it's really hard to drive here. And did you see my utility bill lately? But the problem is that decision's already been made.
Yes.
And now you can't do anything about it, and you are paying for infrastructure costs because you didn't think that adding this massive town center complex is going to now bring people in and out of neighborhoods that have never seen that type of traffic, and going to require more sewage, more water than you've ever needed. And I mean, maybe that's where I have a little bit of a luxury to say, you guys, I try to push them and say, none of you are going to want to live here if you succeed in this. There's a reason you don't live in Farragut. There's a reason you don't live in North Shore, because you like driving in and out of town in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So, but it's like, I don't know if they really know what they're asking for. It feels a little bit like ignorance, I guess, to me, but maybe because I've seen it, I'm like, you're not going to want to live here. I don't get it.
I wouldn't say it's ignorant. I say that they know what they were doing back then. And again, they try to keep it under the radar until ground starts to break and then people start to complain, So, I like you, out of high school, I voted, but I didn't pay attention to the people that I voted for. I took for granted whatever it was they said on TV or whatever sign they had in the yard. I trusted them to do the right thing. They were taking my most favorable concerns to the best, in that none of that ever existed, and then now we have the issues that we do, and you show up at the meetings and they don't really talk to you about the things that are going on, because those things were already pre-planned a while back. So you've already missed 5 steps, and those 5 steps that you missed, they're never going backwards now, because that was already approved and we're on to the next agenda. So when you show up at commission meetings, because I believe you showed up, did you go?
I only went to one to complain about Louisville, and it was like data centers. Everyone was there protesting the data centers. So it was an interesting meeting to go to. I was like, wow, I picked a good one.
Funny you say that, because, when we first started Blount County Breakdown, the first show that we did the hypothetical of a data center.
Yeah.
And then it morphed into a little bit more and a little bit more. And then here we are on show 13, and we're like, the commissioners are out there posting on Facebook and stuff that all this stuff was a rumor. Well, now it's on the agenda. And so we're like, was it really a rumor, or was it just something that was supposed to be kept under the down low until it was time for it not to be on the down low? So I think between us and the community, we talked about it so much that when they showed up to talk about AI data centers, the commission was prepared to hear about the PPE, because they removed it from the agenda. And then you showed up and talked about Louisville. So they run. If I'm wrong, Catherine, tell me. But I think they run off the Roberts rule. So they're not going to talk back. Like if you get 3 minutes about the agenda, or at the end you get 3 minutes about whatever. And if you get up there and you're expecting an answer, then you're never going to get that. That's not what they're going to do. At the workshop, I believe it's the same way. You can get up there and talk about what's on the agenda, or 3 minutes, that's not on the agenda, but you're never going to get a response. You probably get more out of them if you wait to talk to them after the meeting, or you might get lucky and get some of them to return a phone call or an email or something like that. But for the most part, these things are done under the guise of these without the community involved in everything. Up
Bingo.
front.
There it is.
Yes. And
that's a problem.
Yes. And that is the issue. My first meeting, it became very apparent to me that they are violating the Tennessee Sunshine Law. They're required to have that discussion in front of you and not behind the scenes. And the reality is, they all violate it. I mean, in the town of Louisville, they violate it. I've had conversations just casually with aldermen that says, oh, the mayor called me about X, Y, and Z. And I thought to myself, don't you realize that that's going to be an upcoming agenda item, and you can't have that discussion just on a cell phone call? Right. And so the reality is, you can actually, and they should be very cautious of this, you can sue them to overturn that, because they violated the Sunshine Law. You can sue them to overturn that.
So isn't that what happened with Christina Delaney up there in Townsend? They did something. They didn't follow the proper procedures. I don't know if it was a Sunshine Law or not, but she followed certain steps, and they had to actually recall the vote, so to speak, and bring it back to the agenda again, which I think was yesterday, June 11th. So but I think that's exactly what she did with their committee in Townsend. if I'm correct. So I'm not an expert, but I believe that's what I hear though. So
Yeah, it's been unfortunate because, like I said, 30 people over and over again turned up. What happened was they were trying to build 11 single family homes on a 5-acre lot in Louisville, right across from a gas station and are right in front of the red light. So if you could just imagine the traffic issues of these 11 homes putting out right in front of a red light, no one would be able to get out of that light
No.
or turn into those homes whenever heavy traffic is. So what happened is they came to the planning commission once they were denied because it did not meet building codes. They appealed to the BMA, and I have an email from the developer to our mayor that says, I was going to go scorched earth on them. How does this sound? Give me a call. I have that email because we obtained it through our legal counsel. So, she's been helping this developer every step of the way. She was friends with him. He was a government official in our town. He was the design review committee chairman. That counts as a government official. And so he went to the BMA. He tried to claim he wasn't being treated unfairly until we all realized that there was this illegal permit in town. So he was denied again. Well, Mayor Pugh changed 4 members of the planning commission to get the planning commission to review it once more and change that vote to a yes. And I just couldn't let it go. And so many people who came, I remember I texted one person who followed it religiously, and I said, I can't let this go. I'm thinking about hiring a lawyer. And she said, let me send out a group text. And before I knew it, we had a HOA and we had a lawyer and we were obtaining public records and we were taking them to court. But even in that situation, Mayor Pugh could have allowed us to appeal to the BMA. She refused. So she lets her developer friend do it. But when 30 members of your citizens say, we want to appeal, you're going to say, oh, no, you have to go to court. So.
Well, let me ask you this. CJ Simmerly wants to know why you won't run for mayor.
CJ.
I mean, people are trying to push me to run for mayor. I guess what I will say is that wasn't my intent. I really just wanted to participate. I started caring about my community. I started caring about the issues. And right after I will be honest with you, right after I filed my ethical complaints, September of last year, where it was clear the Board of Mayor and Aldermen really only cared about protecting their own and saving the reputation of Mayor Pugh. They didn't agree with her. They didn't agree with what they were doing, but they didn't want to say she was unethical, and they didn't want it to be investigated.
Right.
And it was at that moment that I started realizing the only way to make change is potentially to run. So Catherine is pushing me to run. Our homeowners association is pushing me to run. What I will tell you is the petitions go out in 2 weeks. So pay attention to who is potentially running.
That's cool. Very, very cool.
CJ's right. I mean, and her family's been there in Louisville for, as long as I can remember too. What happens, going back to what happens behind closed doors, it does violate Tennessee Sunshine Law, and that law was put in place for a reason, a very specific reason. We have to have full transparency. We pay taxes. I want to know what is going on with my tax money. I want to know what they're doing with it, what it looks like, what the agenda is. They will sit and talk about, and I know this happens, they will talk about the agenda items not only in Louisville, but also in Blount County. And they will hash out who's going to vote for what direction you're going to vote, what's going to happen. Now, I do know that some people go in, they'll hear the community, and they'll flip their vote. Okay, so your mind can be changed. That's fair. But you shouldn't you should be able to hear what people are saying before you ever have that discussion in the back room. You should have full transparency, and that's a problem not only on a local level, that's a problem across the board.
Yeah.
But I think where we're missing it, and where that corruption is allowed to fester is we don't have town halls, meetings like we should have them. We do have Robert's Rules of Order. Why is that? I mean that's okay, but it's to keep decorum, proper, but also sometimes we want to hear feedback from them. We want to hear them dialogue and say, now you said you were on this road. Tell me more about that. I mean, that dialogue, when somebody says that to you, they're listening. What it feels like with county commission is that they don't hear you. They don't listen. They're already going to vote whatever way they're going to vote. So
And
go
you
ahead.
know what? Sorry to cut you off, but I was going to deliver a public comment if I go back to Blount County, and I was going to say, I think it's incredibly disrespectful. We are the customers. We are the taxpayers. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you report to us. You are our representatives. And I think it's disrespectful that they don't even acknowledge that they heard someone. Someone took their time to drive down, sit through the entire meeting, and deliver a public comment. You should show them that you respect them and say, thank you for giving us your opinion. You should say something like that and acknowledge them. And that was my first opinion. Like, you guys aren't even acknowledging these people. Like, these are your voters, they're your constituents. And it felt very disrespectful to me, quite frankly. So that was something I just wanted to point out there, and I'll deliver that public comment to them. I have no problem doing it.
So
Well, it
I,
feels disrespectful because it is disrespectful. Anywhere that you go, you're going to thank somebody like, thank you for your vote. Even if you didn't vote for me, thank you for being here. Thank you
Yeah.
for your support. You might not have voted for me, but you know what? I value your opinion. Where's the value in the
Mhm.
people of Blount County? We build this place, we build it up, we keep it going. Where's the respect? I mean, you're 100% right. And we feel like we're never heard.
Yeah.
so they because I think they do their research. They use I don't know, outside companies or something like that to get whatever the agenda is going to be about in the workshop. So they have all this information in front of them, that or on their laptop or whatever. And so the discussion is amongst the 21, even though you're there to hear the discussion. So what they're afraid of when they talk about decorum and stuff like that is that this thing is going to take longer than the hour that they have to sit there to talk about it. And so I get it. You have to have some sort of I don't know. There has to be some sort of form of a rule where,
Right.
because some people get up there and it'll get out of hand. That's for sure. You
Absolutely.
know what I
That's
mean?
for
So
sure.
but I don't understand why there isn't that little bit of back and forth. If the reason I won't go up there for 3 minutes and say what I think about Barong or anybody else is because I watch them do the empty stare. I watched Jessica Saxton go up there and recruit people to come with her, and she gets up there, and to me, it looks more like a circus show than anything, and I don't understand. And so I tried to reach out to some of these people to find out why they were going that route, because I was told there was a better way. And well, there is no better way, because when people
Yeah.
show up for the AI data center, when you showed up about Louisville, you get the look or the opinion that, well, it's Blount County. You got your own commissioners over there. So that's something that you have to take up with them that I can't help you do anything about. Well, that's not true. It's still in the county. And I might be wrong. They may actually can help. I don't know, but you're right. Hey, thanks for
Well,
showing up. Appreciate your comment. Maybe I get back to, I don't know.
yeah, and what I would tell you is, I mean, I've learned this in both Florida and I've learned it in Tennessee. You could email these people until you're blue in the face, but unless they feel a relationship with you, and that's where people talk about privileged access. There are people in the community that can call Jill Pugh on her cell phone and talk about an ordinance or something that they want. And those people don't even need to show up at the meetings. They don't, because they know they're heard, right? But when I'm an outsider and I come in and I have a concern and I email people, my first experience in the town of Louisville is none of them responded. None
Right.
of them. And what does that show? That also doesn't show the broader community what my concern was, right? That's a private email between me and that alderman. Well, I don't know if 8 people are complaining about the development. I don't know unless they show up and give the public comment. So I always go give my public comment and say what my concerns are, and at least there is some broader record that the community can see, okay, wow, I'm not the only one.
Right.
And that actually has been my experience in Florida as well. My first public comment ever, someone reached out to me. They found my information. They reached out to me and they said, until you spoke, I thought I was the only one that had this issue with the town. And that makes you feel community.
Yeah.
At
Right.
the end of the day,
Right.
you're not alone, right?
Mhm.
This is a systemic issue. This
Yeah.
isn't just an Anna Gibson issue.
Yeah.
This is a systemic issue. They're not hearing you, and they don't want to.
So the other thing is, again, they're betting on that people are not going to show up. So when the whole AI data center thing hit and they showed up, and their answer to that was, well, you have to go to Alcoa and do their thing. So some people showed up there, and then the city of Maryville. So I guess some people showed up there. But what happens is, what people didn't understand until we kept trying to push it, is that all of the stuff that it requires for that thing to operate there runs through Blount County and runs through Maryville into Alcoa. So it's a
Right.
cooperative effort for that to work.
Yes.
So to push it off as it's this community over here, well, this community over here has the property for sale that's not even public. They don't even own it. They, until they rezone it, or they come together with some sort of restructure agreement, that guy can do whatever the heck he wants to do with that piece of property, and the people in Alcoa and the commission can't do a darn thing about it. And they can make it hard on him for a long, long time, and maybe deter him not to do anything, which is all that they were asking to begin with. But when everybody showed up for that stand, I was proud. They finally found something to stand on. They showed up to talk about this AI data center, you know what I mean? And it caught them off guard. It really caught the commission off guard, I believe. You know what I mean? So we need more people like you and like Catherine, you know, the same thing, that are not afraid to stand up to the, I mean, these people that get elected in there, I think some of them like that. It's a popularity contest, I think, you know. So they're in there. Well, I'm a commissioner. You can't do that. And I'm sure that's bigger in Louisville than it even is at the Blount County commissioner, because I know enough of them on there where I can talk to them a little bit cordially outside afterwards, maybe get a phone call or an email returned back to me. And these are not even in my district. The ones that that are in my district, it's crickets.
I know.
It shouldn't be that way. It should not be that way.
Yes, and there's a couple things that you said that hit home to me. Like, one of them was people are afraid to speak out. And I will tell you, when we started this whole lawsuit thing, a lot of people were afraid. You know, they would say, well, if I join this, I might not get my building permit signed, right? And it shouldn't be that way. We shouldn't be saying, I'm
Guys,
afraid.
I got somebody at my door. You guys keep talking. Hang on.
Go ahead, Anna.
Well, I shouldn't be afraid to speak out against corruption because I'm afraid that in the future they're going to hurt me. We shouldn't be afraid of a vindictive and retaliatory government, right? They should be listening to us, and they should be representing us, and we have power too. They should be afraid of us. And I think I flipped. I mean, I wasn't the only one, right? But I think I flipped the script again on them and showed them, no, the people have power. We never really give that away. We always have that power.
We have that power, and that's what they are afraid of. They are really terrified of that. When people start standing up, and people should stand up all over the United States, this has been a problem, because if we don't stand up, we're going to come under tyranny, because it's going to continue to happen. It's going to continue to grow. And corruption, this is our country. This is Hey, you should have brought him in for an interview.
He wasn't out there. It was just,
Okay.
so I said, we're going to call him and see if he won't do a candid conversation.
Oh, there you go.
I just told him, I said, guys, I'd love to be able to talk to you, but I'm on a podcast with Anna Gibson and Catherine Sands out of Louisville talking about the corruption that's going on in our community. I said, can he come on my podcast? They said, right there's his phone number.
Perfect.
So
Okay.
I guess we'll find out. So anyway, how funny.
Yeah, and the other thing I was going to say, me being maybe from Florida is almost an advantage because I'm not coming from the place of Catherine, well, where I need to worry about my family's reputation in Blount County. And so, in a way, being local is almost a little oppressive because
It
it's
is.
like, well, I don't want to speak out. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I don't want to say anything about their reputation. They might say something about mine. And for me, maybe I have a little bit of privilege there because I'm like, well, I'm not from here. I'm going to tell you what I think.
You have no bias. You're coming
Yes.
from nothing but absolute truth
Yeah.
where you're standing on it. And you're 100% correct because, I do want to represent my family well and not misrepresent them or paint them in a bad light. And I want to be really careful about what I do. But at the same time, I need somebody to stand up. And we have to have people to come out and talk and say stuff. And I'm pretty quiet, but when you pull my chain or something happens and I am really passionate about it, I'm going to talk and I'm not going to shut up until I get it right. I'm not going to shut up until somebody hears what I'm saying. And it's usually not my opinion. It's the opinion of other people. I've always felt like I'm kind of a spokesman for people. I don't know why. I've always felt that way, but I just underdogs. I feel like they are our local governments feel like they are up here and they have forgotten where they come from. They have forgotten that they are not supposed to be lifelong politicians. They are not supposed to set themselves above the people. You're a servant first. You are a servant. You have to hear and you have to do, and you have to hear, like I said, everybody's opinion, everybody's thoughts on it. You do your own research. You dialogue that. And you say, just like the AI data center, okay, I found out this about the AI data center. What do you think about that? How could we do this? How could we do this better? It's a community. It's a community effort at that point because they do the representing and they do the voting, but they have to have the ear of the people. You have to be the ear of the people and the voice of the people, and that's servitude. Anything less than that, again, we're under tyranny. So I don't want to live under that.
We are under tyranny in Louisville. I mean,
Yeah, we
when
are.
this development
Just to
came
say it,
through,
we are.
yeah, because when this development came through, the very next it hit the planning commission, right? They only review development. Then the next BMA meeting, we've never had a issue with public comments. Like I said, the first meeting I went to had 3 whole people in it. And so there was never a need to sign a resolution for public comment. Very next one, resolution for public comment. Then 2 months later, I tried to fight that. I was like, this is ridiculous. They only wanted you to talk about agenda items. I was like, they can't be limited to agenda items. They should be allowed to come here and talk to you about anything that they want. And they were trying to force a sign in at a certain time. They were trying to put in like a 3-minute limit, a 2-minute limit. And I fought them hardcore on that. Then 2 months later, actually a neighbor of ours wrote a kind of a snarky comment, I guess I'd say, about a Father's Day post because they had turned off public comments so people couldn't comment about the development on a post. His wife was trying to update the community and say, this is what the meeting was about. I just want you to know this was happening. And they turned off the comments on their future posts. And then they left the Facebook one open. And he's like, oh, well, you don't turn off a comment on Facebook for Father's Day. And then right after he did that, they admitted to me that they were signing a social media policy to stop the comments. So again, you are just repressing people. Then in January, we have an ethical code. So I filed complaints under the ethical code in September. They tried to claim I couldn't file an ethical code. And then in January, their initial pass at that resolution said only employees and government officials can file an ethical complaint against someone in the town.
Really?
Yes,
Only?
I thought that too. Only them. And I was like,
That's oppressive.
no, I am the only citizen who has ever filed an ethical complaint in this town, and you are just trying to hold me back. So, I mean, they do these little things. But again, if you're not paying attention, all of a sudden you have these rules in place, so you can't speak out because they don't want you there. They don't want
That's
you.
oppression. That's right.
That's
by,
tyranny, oppression.
it's by design, exactly.
Mhm.
It's by
It
design.
is, and it's not supposed to be that way, and none of us want it down here. So
Yes.
I hope, Anna.
Alan Latham
Yeah.
says if you don't kiss the ring, or if you don't have the money, or kiss the ring, you're a nobody. So, Alan's probably telling the truth there for sure.
Alan's telling the truth. That's right. But it shouldn't be that way because Blount County was established. We were built on the backs of people. This is a farm. This is really a farm town. We're built on the backs of farmers. We're built on the backs of hard laborers. We're built on the backs of people who went to war, who have fought for this country, who have worked their whole family, their generational line to build it up. And that's what I have to fight for. That's what I have to fight for: the past, the present, and the future. Because what's it going to look like? What is it going to look like in 10 years, 20 years? If we don't stand up now. So he's right. And I'm not kissing any rings. And this is where I got in trouble on the election. This is where I got in trouble with the commission. I specifically said, not only am I not kissing a ring, I'm not kissing. And that led me to be blackballed. And that's okay. That's okay. Because that's okay. Because at the end of the day, when all this is over and all this is said and done, I can look at myself in the mirror and know I didn't sell my soul and know that I didn't sell out. And I'm not going to sell out and I'm going to stand up. I'm just that person. I'm just not as educated about it as Anna is. So that's why I always defer to her. Okay, Anna.
Well, Anna, look, you've had an hour and it went fast, didn't it?
It did. Thanks for letting me talk about my experience. And, I please participate in local government, whether you're on our side or not, your voice matters.
Yeah.
And they're going to change things that you are not going to want changed. And, speak up. You don't know if someone has been struggling to get their attention or not. And, I would love more people to participate and find it interesting like I do. I mean, I find it interesting all the time. So, yeah.
Okay. So what I'm going to say is you come back on the show anytime you want, but not Candid Conversation unless you decide to run for mayor and then you want to do that way.
I think she could do some Blount County Breakdown too.
Blount County Breakdown, because we talk about, like I said, we talk about Blount County, but when we get Christina Delaney to come on about Townsend, we should get you to come on about, Louisville, that kind of thing. So, and hopefully we get Catherine to come on a little bit more too. I think you said you're coming on Tuesday, right? For at least the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, I've got a follow up to what you ended on Thursday night. So I've got a little follow up from a psychological point of view. So I have something I want to speak to.
I never meant for that to go that way. It just once that stuff in the comments started happening, I started talking. That's why I said, God, it's not about me, but that was my experience, and that's why I have the opinion that I have. So.
But it's a good thing because that's you open up that door so people can talk about what has happened to them, what's happening to them there. That is being heard, and I think it was great. So I'm going to follow up on that.
All right, all right. So
okay, I'll talk forever if you don't cut me off.
Well, no, because people start to lose interest, in, for the hour. That's why I said come back on. It's Blount County Breakdown. It's from 9 to 11.
Okay.
It's 2 hours. And we talk about all the stuff, and you just add your part about Louisville, and then you add all your your opinion about whatever else is going on. It's been good. It works well. Alan's been on the show. Scrappy Dog's been on the show. Matt Snow's been on the show. Christina's been on the show. She came on there once. We tried to get Beth Reese Myers, if I'm saying that correct, but where she lives in the internet and the phone doesn't give her real good access. And so hopefully she can get it together, because she's a wealth of information too, especially when it comes to court records, clerk records, that kind of stuff like that. So, all right, guys, with that being said, I will see you all soon. I'll see you Tuesday, Catherine. And
Thank you,
Anna, you
Brian.
just PM
Okay,
me
thank
on
you all.
anything, or add my Resolute Exposure to your comments or whatever, so I get
Awesome.
tagged in it, that kind of thing, and we'll just keep sharing the information, right?
Yes. Please share. The more
Thank you.
people we can get involved, the better. So,
All right. You
Absolutely.
ladies have a good
Thank you,
evening.
Brian.
Enjoy your
Okay.
vacation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
All right,
Bye.
bye. All right, guys, we had to kick them. That's how it works. We kick them out. Otherwise, they can just jump back in. But Anna's pretty knowledgeable about what's going on with the town of Louisville there, ain't she? And seems like she's involved in some of the meetings enough that they probably wish that she wasn't involved in the meetings enough. So, but good for her. And Catherine, the same thing. We need people to come out and talk about what's going on, and do our best to promote it. So I just want to give a shout out to, I know I talked about Scrappy Dog, and let's see, we got Craig Hall 4502, smells like dirty lake water. Let's see, Ed Reno's in there. Hey, y'all. And then over here on Facebook side of things, we got CJ Simmerly and Alan Latham, Sean Collins. Vote mayor out this year, he said. So it would be cool if she decided to run for mayor and give a go at it for the town of Louisville. She said to pay attention to some things that were going on out there. So give me a few days, guys. I'll get the reels out for these, and we can get them out there and get them shared and that kind of stuff. So with that being said, you all have a very good evening. Peace out. Resolute Exposure is a social media platform. Almost all content on Resolute Exposure is created by citizen journalists. I share content created by citizen journalists who I believe to be the best at finding facts buried deep into the abyss, or outlets who I believe to be best for verifiable information. We have to operate within their system, and we only have the information that they allow us to have. These citizen journalists who nerd out on fact-finding missions and then add their opinion to better inform me to make the best choice for me in this war of narratives is Resolute. This information war is a battle for your mind and ultimately compliance. While mainstream media dismisses social platforms as mere echo chambers for fake news, independent spaces like this prove that shared content and live dialogue actually foster deeper critical thinking. So, I am excited to share the content in hopes you'll turn off mainstream media, who I believe is just a version of entertainment. So again, welcome to Resolute Exposure.
My heart, pumping all day long. Get me the morning when darkness comes. My heart,